Welcome to this video where we'll be looking at the major implications of our latest report on the UK consumer spending outlook for Q4. Back in Q1 of this year, our consumer spending models suggested that consumer spending was likely to rise by 1.5% year on year. We cut that forecast to 1.2% in Q2 and have revised it down further to 0.95% in Q4. The key questions are why? And where are the areas of resilience that are worth targeting for consumers in the next few months? Costs have been a major issue this year, far greater than expected, as inflation proved far more stubborn and persistent than we expected in Q1. You can see on screen the year-on-year growth of costs across our consumer segments, ranging far higher than our Q1 outlook in yellow. This suggests that many households are continuing to see the pressure of rising fixed costs, including on utility bills where we saw water and energy bills rise well above inflation. But the second major issue has been around housing costs in particular. You can see on screen here how our changing outlook for the rate of housing cost growth has alternated between Q1 and Q4. Two shifts are apparent. And the wealthier end of the spectrum, in the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th decile, we had expected a reduction in housing costs, as the Bank of England was due to cut rates, providing mortgage relief for major highly leveraged households. A shallower rate-cutting cycle from the Bank of England, as inflation proved more persistent, has reduced that relief, and therefore we've revised up our outlook accordingly. But the other dynamic has been around the private rental sector. We have revised up the rates of private rental growth in light of major changes in the sector. Changing policy around the private renters bill has created an exodus of buy-to-let landlords, restricting supply within that sector and, as a corresponding result, increasing private rents. And so those twin effects of higher private rents and lower, shallower mortgage cuts for mortgage holders has meant that household costs have proved far higher than we expected in Q1. But this is a story of two halves, because we also saw strong nominal wage growth, and we revised up our outlook for nominal wage growth from Q1 to Q4, as you can see on screen. The most notable dimension has been the strength and resilience of nominal wage growth in the bottom quartile, helped by the minimum wage rises from the Chancellor Rachel Reeves. These two dynamics have interplayed, and the result of them has been that real wages have remained positive, and that should be welcome relief for UK consumers. Our outlook for total costs mean that actually income is exceeding those fixed cost growth for almost all of our consumer segments, as you can see on screen. The balance sheets of Britain across the country are improving as real wages remain positive and strong. However, we haven't seen a corresponding increase in consumer spending, despite real wage growth being strong. A key to understanding this dimension is surplus savings. Consumer confidence across the United Kingdom has been low after a myriad of political and economic shocks. Consumers remain very cautious and have an elevated rate of saving. You can see on screen the monthly changes in deposits at building societies and current accounts across the UK. During COVID, there was palpable surplus savings as consumers were unable to spend. During the cost of living crisis, you saw deposit outflows net because of the inflationary pressures. But look there at the end of the graph, you still see signs of surplus savings in 2025. And that has been the key driver of consumer spending underperformance. We go into Q4 with two scenarios. A scenario looking specifically at a traditional saving rate mellowing over the course of 2026, and a festive saving rate where consumers reduce savings dramatically in order to spend over the festive period. Our outlook across consumer segments create and show significant variation, with traditional strong households such as professional and middle-aged families, as well as double income no kids, showing continued strength in consumer spending. But at the other end of the spectrum, single parents, graduate and young renters, as well as the solo and low income, show reductions in real terms year on year in terms of spending. Our product outlook shows a similar story, with traditional staples showing signs of resilience, but discretionary items showing signs of reduction. If you've enjoyed any of the thoughts from this video, make sure to download our full report, the UK Consumer Spending Outlook from Baringa.